Hi, welcome to another session on digital CVs, and this is Sanjay Vyas. Today we will be talking about thread pools in .NET. So this is not a coding session, we would not be writing any code, and I'm assuming that you know about threads and here to learn more about thread pools. So let's take a look. When we have a few threads in our program, these threads improve the performance of our application because while our application is waiting for something to happen or to complete, other threads meanwhile can get some other task done. So overall, our application becomes more responsive, it becomes faster, but then we might get carried away. And when that happens, we'll end up creating too many threads. Now, when this happens, we have a lot of load coming on the CPU. So let's visualize this scenario where we have too many threads being created. All these threads are running at the same time. They are accessing similar resources and basically causing a load on the CPU. So instead of improving performance, there is a degradation of performance in our application. So the question is, how many threads do we create? How many are good enough? At what point there are too many and will start having an opposite effect on our performance? To simplify these things, .NET framework has a concept of thread pool. So let's take a look at what is a thread pool. A thread pool is basically a set of threads which are pre-created but not started. These threads are added to a list and they are ready to execute whenever we need them. This solves the problem of how many threads are good enough. The system decides how many threads and we decide when we want to use them. So let's see how we can use these threads in our application. So how does a thread pool work? When our application starts, it gets a ready-made thread pool with a certain number of threads in it. Remember, they are only created, they are not executing. Now, instead of we creating threads, scheduling them, monitoring them, waiting for them, and getting them to do something, we simply ask for a thread from the pool. So we borrow a thread without bothering about how it is created, how it would be scheduled, and we ask the thread pool to actually carry out some work item for us. So if we focus on this part, we can see that a thread has been borrowed from the pool and we are asking it to execute some work item for us. This work item is some method that we want executed by the thread. So once the thread executes our work item, it returns back to the pool ready to take up the next work item. Well, in terms of coding, how complicated is it? Well, not at all. When we look at the code, we can see that we do not start any thread here. We simply pool the work item that we have. Yes, we can specify whether what are the minimum threads or maximum threads that we want to deploy for this. And remember, this is for the entire thread pool. So here is a scenario where we are scheduling 1,000 work items, but the thread pool is limited to 32. So what effect does it have? Well, at any given point of time, not more than 32 threads would be created. So this is not the runaway scenario where we had too many threads bogging down the CPU, But at the same time, we are not bothering ourselves about when the thread is created, when is it scheduled, what work it does. We simply request for 1,000 work items to be queued. This code, when run, will keep executing these work items in batches of 32. And once there are no pending work items, the program comes to an end. So we can queue as many work items as we want, but the thread pool will limit it to the maximum number of threads we create. This is a win-win situation. We don't bother about the threads, and the system is not overloaded with too many threads. I hope this digital CD helped you understand what a thread pool is and why it is better than creating our own threads. This is Sanjay Vyas signing off.